Underdog, which I don't know if you knew this, but Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy football. You just draft your team and not have to do lineup changes or anything like that. And if you go over there and you use the code Undroppable, it will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. So
Is that right?
I did that. I put it Undroppable, and I attached my credit card and said $100, and now I have $200 in my account. So over on Fantasy Football Advice Network, we did a draft on the live show, and I drafted a best ball team, my first best ball team of the year, and I was pretty happy with it. So yeah. So it's been a long day, long day. But we are here for Raiders Uncovered, and we'll hit it. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you down, or knock you round and upside down, and laugh when he's conquered and won. Hey! It's time for the Uncovered series, The Raiders Unrivaled. I'm Big Boned FFB, a.k.a. Biggs, a.k.a. Brendan Booth. I'm here with Raider Thomas. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. I got a new microphone, so hopefully I sound a little better today. But I suppose that's up to you and your ears.
Yeah, you sound good.
Should be working, so I guess we're ready to roll.
We are rolling, and I really like how because of my activity earlier today, I got to roll right into my ad read for Underdog. So go to Underdog Fantasy, everybody. Use code Undroppable. This is a dead zone, buddy. I know that other guys are doing a lot of like analyst content talking about like potential draft picks and stuff. But I've mentioned here on this show how jaded I am about actually like doing deep dives into players because it just brings nothing but disappointment. I find guys that I like and then we don't draft them. And with this draft, there is no telling what's going to happen. There's a different story coming out every day. We're trading up for a quarterback. We're not trading up for a quarterback. Aiden O'Connell is a starter. We're trading up for a quarterback. Cornerback or offensive line is the news of the day. So, I just can't get my heart set on another Roquan Smith and then be disappointed.
It's just
Reuben Foster.
It's the randomness of pro football that makes this so disheartening to do that. Because, I mean, I caught you on a show a couple mornings ago talking about wide receivers as far as, their fantasy production and all that and how you like them coming into this draft. And that's all well and good. But how many people did deep dives on wide receivers last year and then didn't draft Puka Nacua? I mean, right. You can get into the season and some people show up and some people don't. And it's nearly impossible to tell who's going to do that because you don't know who's going to go where and who's going to get the right coaching at the right time and develop the right way like Puka did. It happens all the time. And then some people who you think are no doubt blue chip prospects go into different places and flame out. So it's so hard to figure out who's going to be good and who's not. There's no Andrew Luck in this draft. There's no prospect that you can look at that guy and no matter where he goes, no matter how crappy his team is, he's going to be basically football Jesus and expect him to live up to that. There's nobody like that. Even Caleb Williams, if he goes to the Bears, God help the man, because as talented as he is, it's still the Bears. And he can figure out as easily as anybody.
We have a comment from my partner over at the Undroppables, over at Player Profiler, and over at the Dynasty Pulse, Mike Lindbergh, a.k.a. Mike Greinberg. He's a Chiefs fan, So we were on a
Sorry
couple
to hear that.
podcasts together today. I'm in my Raiders colors, and he's in his Chiefs colors. I have Raiders stuff in my background. He has what was his name? Um, uh, want to say Riddick Bowe. He has a Bowe jersey in his background. Um,
Dwayne Bowe. Riddick Bowe was
Wayne
a
Bowe.
buck.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. That's why I said I want to say Riddick Bowe, but it's not. He's checking in. I don't know if any of you saw the description, but I said Chief Chiefdom because chiefs and kings are two different things, and they have no kings in the Native American or the First Nations culture. So Chiefs Kingdom is just a stupid ass nickname. Trying to jump on the nation bandwagon.
As
Uh,
everyone does.
Shout out Nash. Um, yeah, we will go ahead and get rid of that. So, yeah, and talking about wide receivers, because of my fantasy background, and you mentioned Puka Nakua, I will tell you in my home league, my home dynasty league, in the fourth round, I had him queued up to take him with my fourth round pick, and my buddy in the league, who's a Rams fan, took him. Didn't know who he was, pronounced his name wrong, but took him because he was on the Rams. I
I'm
had
sure.
done the
I'm sure
work.
Puka Nakua did a great job for him last year.
One of my favorite dynasty team names that I saw this last year was Nakua Cola.
That's interesting.
Fallout, Nuka
Oh yeah,
Cola.
Nuka Cola, absolutely.
When we're done here, I suggest to everyone go watch the Fallout series. It's amazing. You don't have to know anything about the game, but if you do know about the game, it's one of those things like, with the Star Wars reboots where you're like, ha, I get it. Ha, I get it. Ha, I get it. Total fan service, but like The Last of Us, phenomenal show from the beginning. The opening scene is just like pitch perfect. It is so good on Prime Video. Go watch Fallout. But wait until we're done here first, because you're going to want to see this. You're going to want to hear our take on Mr. Orenthal James Simpson. You're going to want to hear
Absolutely are.
our reaction to the Rashid
Mhm.
news. You're going to want to hear what we think about a certain goated quarterback and what he said today. And you're also going to want to see what we have in store in our mock draft. So, maybe nobody's watching now, but you who are now watching, stick around with us. All right, OJ Simpson. How, regardless of what you think about him, regardless of what has happened in his life, and regardless about where you fall on the spectrum of racial discourse, OJ Simpson was an absolute beast on the football field, and he passed away due to cancer. And so, in certain context, it's a sad day in football. Um, I will say that I had an OJ Simpson rookie card, and being young and stupid, in the 80s, I took it to the card shop and sold it for like $120. But when you're 12 years old, $120 is basically a small fortune.
When
Um,
you were a child, that was like $1,000.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, so OJ was born in San Francisco, and shout out NorCal, where I am, and had a stellar high school career. Got recruited to go to USC. Went to USC. Uh, he was an absolute beast. He had 237 yards rushing in a game for the Bills. He was a leading rusher in the NFL for a long, long time. Uh, Put together as a lot of NFL players started doing, transitioning from the pro game into like movies and commercials and stuff. Super famous as the Hertz spokesman. Super famous for the Naked Gun series, and so we are acknowledging the passing of O.J. Simpson without getting into White Bronco and small
Well,
gloves.
what I would hate to see happen is for these spineless goody two shoes keyboard warriors on the internet to comb through the life of a great man like O.J. Simpson and find some silly thing that he did that they don't like and to cancel the man when he's dead. I mean, this is a man, a multiple time Pro Bowler, rushed for 11,000 yards in the NFL, Heisman Trophy winner, star of The Naked Gun, star of Towering Inferno, star of many commercials. And for them to just find one silly little thing that he did, like, say, murdering 2 white people and canceling the man when he's dead. I mean, can we stop with this, with applying our modern day morality to the morality of people who were in the past? Can we just stop with that? I'm just sick and tired of it.
Absolutely. And, there are debates out there. A perfect one is Michael Jackson. How do you separate the person from their art? And you can call O.J. Simpson as a running back his art. Separating the man from his art. Which is why I kind of started off by saying it doesn't matter where you fall on any of the subjects that make O.J. Simpson a controversial figure. Cancellation, let's not do it. Jokes, however, let me get to this real quick because it was pretty funny.
Like if I referred to him as cutlery enthusiast O.J. Simpson, we could do that.
That's funny. He can finally rest in peace now that his wife's killer is dead. That's funny. That is funny. But
of course, the real killer was on. He could have found him one of these days.
Shout out Northern California. I'm not going to say shout out golf because I think golf is a reprehensible pastime. Mini golf, I'm fine with. Regular golf, just stop. When they had the earthquake in New Jersey and they were like, "Oh, it's right next to Trump's golf course," I was like, "Oh no! I hope it didn't impede the recreation time of the white upper class who are playing a game and making money on the backs of their workers."
But every city has every large city has several municipal golf courses. So if you have an earthquake anywhere near people, it's going to be near a golf course. It doesn't have to be anyone special.
And they have those municipal golf courses and then raise the price of water.
People got to drink.
Right, but we don't have to water golf courses.
Well, grass got to drink too.
Right, that's my point. There doesn't have to be all the grass. We can make that into like affordable housing.
We could.
Okay.
But poor people would have houses. We can't have that.
All right. Moving on to the next order of business. Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice came out yesterday that he is actually indicted on 6 different counts, including like assault. Ooh, nice. My battery had 69%. And let me go for specificity's sake. And okay, his arrest warrant. He surrendered 30 minutes ago. So that was something that I missed.
That long?
Facing 8 counts: aggravated assault, collision involving serious bodily injury, 6 counts of collision involving injury stemming from a chain reaction collision that involved a Lamborghini that Rice was driving, a Corvette, and 4 other vehicles. 4 people with minor injuries. Thankfully, not a woman and her dog were murdered. But it's relevant news for the AFC West because the man who was on a career sentence, he's going to jail. And he is going to be suspended by the NFL. And he's not going to be the Raiders' problem to deal with for at least the first time we see the Chiefs next year. It's one of those things where guys get shit on for DUIs, guys get shit on for, and I, being a former substance abuse counselor, I have answers to the questions every time. What, they had such a good career, why did they do something so stupid? The answer is alcohol, and there's a physiological reason for it, but we don't have to get into that. So, did Rashee Rice flee because he was drunk and then wait until he couldn't be? People have questions. Anyway, so yeah, he's going to have punitive results out of this, and I'm not sad about it one bit.
I have been all over the wonderful interstate highway system of this great country of ours in many different states, well over half of the states that we have. And I am convinced that the worst drivers in the United States are in Idaho. And
Oh, I was going to say Arizona.
I don't think it's particularly close either. I've driven, I've been in cars in Arizona, I've been in cars in Idaho, and Idaho is by far the worst. But I do think the most dangerous place to drive is Texas, because not necessarily are people racing constantly like Mr. Rice was, but they certainly act like they are. People in Texas are out of their freaking minds on the regular, and they act like it in their cars. Uh, Getting across the street in Texas is hazardous. Getting across the state is nearly a death sentence. It's an insane place to be. It's an insane place to live. Most of the state, there's nothing in it. It's a giant cat box. I will never go there again. I hate Texas with every fiber of my being, and I can't imagine living there more than 10 minutes. Honestly, it's such an absolute hellhole. It's such an awful place to drive in. It's such an awful place to be in. It's hot all the time. It takes a day and a half to drive from El Paso to San Antonio, in a van with your sister and your cats. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. I will never do it again. In Texas, you can call hell and they won't charge you because it's a local call. Listen, anything that happens to anybody in Texas, they deserve it.
Apart from the fact that the Cowboys exist and they exist there, our our experiences with Texas are a little bit different. I've driven through a couple different times. Shout out the Big Texan in Amarillo across the highway from the Travelodge. And I had a vacation. Well, it was a vacation for me. My girlfriend went to a conference in Dallas, and so for 5 or 6 days we stayed. The Tool Fear Inoculum album was on the way, and it was. I remember the night exactly. They dropped all of their previous albums on Spotify, and I just stayed up all night in the hotel listening to all of the Tool streaming online for the first time. It was wonderful. And then I went and saw the premiere, the first showing on the Friday opening day of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at the Alamo Draft House. Walked over there by myself, which was like a pretty good trek. Had some great barbecue in Deep Elm or whatever it's called. Went to the place where they invented the frozen margarita and created the frozen margarita machine. Before I went and saw Hunter Pence play at the place where the Giants won the World Series in 2010. So I was in the book depository. I walked on the grassy knoll. I had a really good time in Dallas, and I haven't had a bad experience in Texas. I also haven't driven in Idaho, and I will say that the worst drivers I've ever experienced were in Phoenix, Arizona. I was scared for my life to the point where I happened to have a video camera in the front seat next to me, and I took it out to tape to video all of the way that people were driving around me so that I could revel at it later on. Safest drivers I've ever experienced, Washington State from Tacoma to the Oregon border.
I can attest to that as well. If you go north of that, you get into Seattle, and then
right.
they'll actively try to murder you with their vehicle.
Right. But from Tacoma south of the border.
Can we talk about another car-related incident that happened in Texas over the last week or so? With a certain defensive tackle who's going to be drafted, or perhaps will be drafted this month. Getting a
guy that we've talked about on this show before.
Considerably talked about.
Drafted him in a mock draft.
Mm-hmm. Many of them.
Yeah.
From what I understand, in Greater Austin, you have to be so ridiculously inebriated to get a DUI that it's not even funny. So
that's good intel.
For Tavondre Sweat to have the charges against him that he has shows a little something about his character, because from what I understand from reading a little bit about this is that Tavondre Sweat is known as a party animal and a class clown from several NFL teams. And he assured these same NFL teams that, those days are behind him. and then this happens. So perhaps not. I
Perhaps
think
not.
that's a massive red flag. I think it could and will drop him from the second round to third day, and yeah, he could even be lucky to be drafted. I mean, on talent alone, he's probably a fringe first rounder. But you can't have this kind of stuff. I mean, this is worse than Jalen Carter. This is worse than a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Um, for
But
that
at least he
level of
didn't have a gas
deviation.
mask bong on.
Well, that is just a matter of bad timing. If that video had come out a month before the draft, nobody would have given a crap by the end.
Right.
But Mr. Sweat has cost himself an awful lot of money for, however many dozens of dollars he spent on what he drank that day.
And so, because you brought up DUI, let me just address this because it's something that I saw on Twitter and it's something that was related to the Tavondre Sweat news. And somebody commented, "How could he be so stupid?" And I said before, the physiology of alcohol. So, what alcohol does to your brain is it creates a mental environment that is similar to being a teenager. Now, there are certain things that we know in human development, and that is before your brain is fully developed, you have a problem or a deficit in being able to anticipate consequences. So you're not making the right choices. It shuts down your ability to think with logic. So if A, then B situations don't happen. So if somebody's drunk, how many times have you seen somebody drunk say, "Give me my keys, I'm going to drive," knowing full well that they're fucking hammered, right? Uh, you lose that ability to see consequences, to see in the future, to make logical judgment because your brain is now in the same space as a teenager. Why do so many teenagers die falling off cliffs or doing dangerous things? It's because they don't have the ability to look to the future, use logic, and see consequences. So that's basically what you're doing when you're drinking. In a perfect world, everybody would be smart enough when they were drunk to call an Uber, but not everybody is in their drunken state is able to do that cognitively. So
Not
post
everyone's
blame
smart
for
enough to call Derek Carr for a ride before they kill a lady and her dog.
right. Post blame and similar to what you were talking about with OJ, cancellation is just wrong. Right? We need to put things in place to prevent those things from happening, but blaming somebody and denigrating them or thinking down on them after the fact is just wrong because you're not in control when you're drunk, period. You have changed your brain chemistry and you're not able to make proper decisions like not driving, etc. So take the consequences. I'm not saying like allow people to escape accountability, but like the judgment on them is a lot of the times misplaced. That's all I'm saying.
Well, when someone is without inhibitions, you cannot judge them as if they have them in place. And
Yeah.
that's what alcohol does. Is it gets rid of your inhibitions and your ability to say, "Oh, that's a bad idea," you know. But a lot of drugs will do that to you as well. It'll be, "Oh, everything is fine," if I do this, everything will be okay. Well, not so much. And a lot of
Right.
people figure that out the hard way, and it's unfortunate.
Now, my favorite thing about the Rishi Rice story is that Barry Winter wrote on August 2023, about unwanted notoriety. The NFL teams that have had the most arrests, the Chiefs with Rishi Rice have now vaulted themselves to the number 6 position with 34 arrests since the year 2000. Number 1, the godforsaken donkeys. So fuck you guys.
I think
Fuck the
Akeem Talib has at
Broncos.
least half of those,
Fuck the
isn't he?
Chiefs. Uh, they have had 47. So half would be a half an arrest. 40 or 23 and a half. I don't think. You said at least? Okay, so maybe Akeem Talib
Yeah,
has 24 of those.
maybe.
Minnesota is right behind Denver with 46. Bengals with 42, Jacksonville with 41, Buccaneers with 36, Seattle and Kansas City with 34, Cleveland with 33, Miami with 33, Chicago with 32, Colts with 31, Saints with 29, Cardinals with 27, Niners with 27, Steelers with 26, Packers with 26, Ravens with 26, and there is one team that is heavily underrepresented.
This one right here?
Silver and black.
Listen, there have been a lot worse things that have happened to the Kansas City Chiefs than getting arrested. And one of the things that I take pride in my career is I've never made a joke about Jovan Belcher, and I never will, because that's not funny and it's distasteful. But that's some serious shit. And they have, I don't know what's going on in the Chiefs culture, if there's anything at all going on in their culture that breeds this kind of thing. But they need to address it if there is, because this is the awful shit that has happened to that team and their fans.
I'm going to say that since the sample is 24 years, which is time for many regimes to come in and out, that I don't think that there's any one thing. I think this is just random sampling. I mean, yeah, the Broncos have 40, was it 47? The Broncos have had 47. The Broncos average over about 2 arrests of players per year. But you can't really call that a culture. You just have to call it a coincidence and laugh at them. Stupid donkeys. All right. Tom Brady. Tom Brady said, and I'm so tired of talking about Tom Brady. I was tired of talking about him 3 years ago when he first started being speculated that John Gruden wanted him to come in and be a quarterback, and then Josh McDaniels wanted him to come in and be a quarterback. Now he's affiliated with Raiders ownership. They're trying to get that through. It's fine. But somebody asked him in an interview, and he mentioned that he would not have a problem. Of course he wouldn't. Coming back towards the latter half of this season to make a playoff run, and he named 3 teams that he'd like to do it with, and one of them being the 49ers and one of them being the Raiders. It shouldn't even be a news thing, but with the proliferation of podcasts, which I'm kind of thankful for, and his outsized presence in our popular culture and sports culture, we had to hear it. So now you have to hear it because I'm sharing with you if you didn't hear it already. Hey, Tyler, do you think Tom Brady's coming back in the second half of the season to help us through the playoffs?
Well, there's two thoughts I have about this. The first is that Tom Brady retired in the first place not because he wasn't able to play football anymore. Let's not think that Tom Brady was washed by any means. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Tom Brady is still one of the greatest quarterbacks on earth right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he left to, I guess, probably try to salvage his marriage. Well, that is out the door. That lady is gone, and she is not coming back. Tom Brady has nothing right now except the memories of a football career and his children.
And podcast appearances. So, Tom, reach out. I'll have you on here.
A podcast like the one we're doing right now. So we cannot
come on,
the man for that. Yeah, come on, guest with us. But he is still. It's just the thing that he left football for is no longer there. Why would he not come back to football if he's still able to play? I mean, it's not like he's going to, Aaron Rodgers himself and tear his knee up in the first play. I mean, the man could still go. My second thought is, how much different would last year for the Las Vegas Raiders have been if instead of Jimmy Garoppolo, we signed Tom Brady to be our quarterback? What would that have been like? Would Josh McDaniels still be the coach of the Raiders today? I think probably yes. Would Tom Brady be a good quarterback if, say, the Raiders can't get the quarterback that they want in the first round, or simply address other needs and go with Aiden O'Connell? If they want to bring Tom Brady in and say the middle of November to, at least be a backup for the end of the season and mentor Aiden O'Connell, would that be such a bad thing? Probably not. I mean, pure football. Now, the problem Raiders fans have with Tom Brady is the tuck rule game and the fact that Tom Brady ran roughshod and screwed everybody else in the AFC for the better part of 20 years. memories die hard. So people have grudges against Tom Brady that have nothing to do with football and everything to do with what he did to the Raiders personally. And I have those same grudges because,
Right.
Tuck Rule was one of the greatest travesties of professional sports of all time. So it would be a hard pill to swallow for myself, probably for you, and probably for the majority of Raider Nation. Would it be a good thing for the Raiders themselves? Absolutely. And no one
Yeah.
should think otherwise.
Now, I got asked by the host of this Underdog draft. Did you know that Underdog is the easiest way to play fantasy football? Just go to underdog.com, play Underdog Fantasy, enter the code Undroppable, and they'll match you up to your first time deposit of $100. But I was asked because I'm a Raiders fan and I drafted Zamir White in my best ball draft. He used the word bias. And what I explained to him was that I am good at separating my Raiders fandom from my fantasy football analysis. And the reason that I'm drafting Zamir White at this point, at this position in the draft, is because all signs point to him being the RB1 and getting possibly in the 300 touch range through the course of the season, barring injury. That puts him at a production level with a 4.3 yards per carry average, which he sustained in the last 4 games last year, in the 1,500 yards rushing range. That's a guy that I want on my football team, on my fantasy team. That has nothing to do with the fact that he's a Raider. It just, maybe I pay attention to Zamir White a little closer than other people because of my Raiders fandom. So it doesn't color my fantasy analysis being a fan of the Raiders. It's not like I like him. I didn't draft Davante Adams in that draft. I've drafted him in other drafts, but not because he's on the Raiders, but because Davante Adams is an elite wide receiver. The same thing can be said about Tom Brady. I don't like him as a person. I have deep-seated resentment for him as a football player. But if anybody is going to come to the Raiders and help them to lift the Lombardi, I have zero problem with them doing it. So
listen, the second Tom Brady wearing the silver and black beats the Broncos 52-10, no one's going to give a shit about the Tuck Rule anymore. I'll guarantee you that. If he comes in and wins, he's a Raider.
If Patrick Mahomes was the Raiders quarterback that won a Super Bowl, I'd be happy with it. If Aqib Talib made the pick 6 to win us a Super Bowl, I'd be okay with it. I don't care how much I hate somebody if we hoist that silver, baby.
Mm-hmm. Winning cures everything, and it cures grudges too.
Yeah. So, Tom, again, reach out, come on the show. We'd love to have you. And maybe we'll talk about the Tuck Rule.
Maybe
wouldn't you like that?
But he already knows. He's already said it was a fumble. We don't have any questions about that. He knows what's up.
It was a fumble, and he does know. All right, let's get into a mock draft. I tried with my random wheel randomizer earlier today to in a podcast that I recorded, in which we talked about Michael Mayer and the fact that he is going to have a big year with a fantasy tight end guru, Andrew Cooper. Go find him on @Koopa Fiasco, which is a great Twitter handle, COOPAFIASCO. He's amazing, and we had a 2.5 hour podcast today, which was fun. And we both like Michael Mayer a lot. I got to drink out of my Notre Dame cup when I was doing it. What should we do? Should we do Jesus, my brain. It's been a long day. Pro Football Focus. Let's do that one.
Okay. PFF. I've been doing Draft Buzz or NFL Draft Buzz a lot lately. I like their engine a lot. It shows a lot of interesting features that I'm interested in. As far as the draft goes, the thing I've been kind of cluing in for the last few days is that I think the Raiders, instead of trading up in the first round, will make their pick and try to trade back into the first round near the end. Because I think either Penix or Nix will probably fall out of the team. And so I think the Raiders would address
trade up in the 20s.
Yeah, either tackle or corner with their first pick. And my trades in my mock drafts that I've been doing have been with the Cardinals at 24 to get back into the first. It doesn't take it takes a less to get to 24 than it takes to get to 3. I'll tell you that right now. And I think that might be the way that they go.
Well, I was talking earlier about the Cardinals, and I was talking to a Cardinals fan, and they said something about taking somebody with the 4th pick, and I was like, the way that I've kind of sussed it out, if the Raiders are going to trade up into the top 5, I think it's going to be with Arizona. I don't think it's going to be with anybody else.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
All right, so let's do both. Let's do PFF first. Okay. And so the rules that we talked about last week, if there's a trade, we're gonna take it, as long as there's no 2025 draft pick attached to it.
So we're taking all reasonable trades that don't involve next year picks,
just for shits and giggles. Okay. So we'll do 3 rounds on this one.
Oh. I have an interesting guy in mind for like a later round, and when we get to that, I'd like to talk about it a little bit.
We can do 7 rounds. I just hadn't signed in. Okay, so we'll take the Raiders. Draft for needs off. Random list less, because we do want to kind of follow. Do you want the public big board or let's go that in the middle?
Yeah. I've been going with consensus because these draft sites all have their own kind of proprietary, draft boards, and I think the consensus is usually the more accurate one. The weird thing about any of these mock drafts is the fact that I've talked about this before, is that mock drafters always draft for need, and teams in the NFL themselves always draft for scheme fit, and that's why the mock drafts never line up with the mock drafts, and why the mock drafters are always like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Are they stupid? No, it's because they have a different priority than you do.
Right, and you're trying to use a predictive, you're trying to predict what's going to happen, and you can't really do that. Right. All right, so let's start the draft. Boom. That's turbo. Let's slow that down. No trade offers. Okay. No, so what did we see that just happened? All right, Caleb, then Drake, then Marvin, then Malik. Fairly similar. Okay. Joe Alt. Jaden, we could have had him if we had traded up to the 4. Romo Dunze, Brock Bowers, Quinyon Mitchell is who I wanted. Cooper DeJong.
Cooper DeJong 11 is insane, but okay.
So I think we're going Fuaga here, right?
I would if this was me doing this. Yeah, I would go with Fuaga for sure.
Fuaga or Fautano?
I'm not a big Fuatano fan. I think he winds up as a guard in the pros, and I think you need that solid right tackle, and I think Fuaga is the guy. J.C. Latham is another choice here, but I like Fuaga a little bit better.
And Fashanu, of course. He's not as athletic as I want.
I love Fashanu, but I think he's a left tackle more than a right tackle, and I want a pure right tackle.
All right. It's not terrible. Good pass block grade. Bad against the run. Fuck it. Let's do it. Boom.
Yeah. Fuaga is my guy here for sure.
Okay. And we can speed it up just a little bit.
Can we make a trade ourselves, or do we have to wait?
We can pause it to offer a trade. Let's do that next time and see if we can move into the top 4 and pick a quarterback.
All right. Oh, Bo Nix is still there. Penix, I'm guessing, is not. So let's go with Nix here. Who took Penix in this mock here?
Ennis Rakestraw is an elite name.
That is a fantastic football name. Oh, the Patriots did, because they went Harrison in the first round, right?
Good Lord, that would be a good draft for them.
Oh, that would be fantastic. They would be absolutely tickled pink to have that happen to them.
Which means we should if they take Marvin Harrison Jr. at the number 3, we need to take Penix at the 13.
Probably. But, the thing is, though, Penix is left-handed, so he needs a blindside protector as the right tackle. And we just got that.
Yeah. All right. There goes Tavondre Sweat. And here we go.
Okay. All right. Let's. Okay. What do we got at defensive? We took our
Yeah,
quarterback. We took our tackle.
there's a
You're looking.
trade.
Oh, is there a trade offer here?
They're offering the 101. I can't read. I don't know what they're asking for. So I'm going to go back to the draft a player. You wanted to know what?
Guard.
Interior O.
Okay. Cooper Beebe is there. Do you
Let's
think
look.
you'd be a reasonable pick at 77?
Yeah. Where are the defense? I don't like this one. where where are the defensive players?
You might have to scroll down a little bit.
There's no way to scroll.
Maybe
What
in
if
the
I?
browser itself.
Oh, you know what? There we go.
There, yeah. See, there they are.
Okay, so let's go. Let's see who's there. Bernardo Green, DJ James,
Okay.
Chris Abrams.
DJ James is a guy I've been getting a lot in my mocks. He seems to fit in that 4th round area for the Raiders.
That's a pretty good coverage grade for Bernardo Green. Pretty steady. Now here's a guy who has nothing. 6 foot, 186. I like that size.
Yeah, that's a good size for a corner. A boundary corner specifically. Now, I just think if you get Cooper Beebe here, I think you've got your offensive line basically for the next however long until Colton Miller retires, basically, because everyone is, in their first or, within 5 years of the start of their career. So I think if you get Cooper Beebe here, you've got basically your entire offensive line set.
And you're sure you want to do that and not go with the best cornerback on the board?
Well, I think you can get this is a deep cornerback class. I think, but Cooper Beebe, I think, is one of the elite guards in the class.
For the 77th pick in the 2024 draft, the Raiders select
It's not working at all.
I don't like this model.
We select a better web browser, so we select.
It's different than the last time I used one.
There we go.
Our next pick is the 112. I think we can get Cooper Beebe later.
Well, we very well could. If he's at 126 here, then yeah, we can wait around for sure, and we can get Green here. The rankings are a little different than the last time I saw them, and they're a little different on the websites I was using. But yeah, we can get BB a bit later. I don't know if you can in real life, but you certainly can here.
Okay, Bernardo Green. Boom. Speed it up a little bit. And like the Lions last year, let's hope that he's still available. See, the last time I used Pro Football Focus, it wasn't this confusing to try and figure out what was happening. Okay, and so we were looking at BB.
Yeah.
There he is.
He is still there. Fantastic. Man, at this point, the Raiders are so much better already. It's not even funny.
All right, so we're going into round 4. I'm thinking running back would be perfect here.
Yeah, I agree.
And there goes Audric Estimate. God damn it!
No, there's one I had in mind, and if you'll indulge me, I would like to discuss him briefly.
Okay.
I think you can get him later than this. So I'm not sure if you need to go here right now. Um, but the Raiders the other day met with UCLA running back Carson Steele.
Carson Steele. Yep.
Carson Steele started his career at Ball State University.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, he led the MAC conference with 1,556 yards and 14 touchdowns. He was by far the best running back in the MAC, and he went to UCLA and had an okay year playing for Chip Kelly. He had he had 41 rushes for 272 yards, but he averaged 6.6 yards a carry and had 2 touchdowns. And he had 8 receptions for 62 yards. UCLA had a pretty full backfield last year, so he wasn't like the bell cow or anything. But this guy, if you watch his highlights, you cannot tackle this man. He is an absolute bowling ball. He reminded me of a much larger, much wider Maurice Jones-Drew. He reminded me if Christian McCaffrey was a little bit slower and not quite as good of a pass catcher. If the Raiders are going to be drafting a running back this year, I suspect it will in fact be Carson Steele. This guy, his highlights are absolutely unreal. I mean, the dude. When I was a kid watching, just getting into football, there was a guy on the Kansas City Chiefs by the name of Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare, one of the greatest Kansas City Chiefs of all time. And the thing about Christian Okoye was he wasn't super duper fast, but you could not tackle the man, and he would absolutely destroy you if you attempted to do so. And that's what Carson Steele is like. If you try to tackle him, he would prefer to run through you and over you than around you. He will punish you as often and as possible. He's a really tough guy. He's a big guy. He's got long, flowing locks of hair. He is an absolute Raider, and I'd be shocked if he wasn't wearing silver and black when the draft is over or when UDFA is over.
I'm familiar with Carson Steele. I drafted him in one of my Devy leagues because I was anticipating that he would ascend to, because he did so well at Bowling Green, and I was hoping he would ascend to my NFL rosters. And then he got passed up by a lot of other running backs that I had never heard of before. I do want to throw this name out there for you. This guy, Dylan Lobby, I like a lot. He's comp to Danny Woodhead. His size, 5'10", 208. He's not Kamani Vidal, and Kamani Vidal had an absolute monster year for Troy. So we're talking about like lower level guys. And then there's Dylan Johnson. Dylan Johnson from the University of Washington, who was a killer receiving back, which is kind of what we're looking at, kind of what we're hoping for. 6 feet 218. He's definitely the kind of he was the way that he was played in the pass game at Washington. He was their go-to guy, and he caught a lot of passes. So I would say we either take the Dylan Lobby, the Danny Woodhead clone, or Dylan Johnson at this point. I do know Carson Steele, but I think these guys would be a little bit better. Or we can go somewhere else because Carson Steele is going to be available when we pick at 229.
Yeah, he absolutely will be, and I think he's a 6th round pick for the Raiders in real life. As far as this mock goes, if we were to pick a running back right now and we were forced to, I would take Dylan Johnson over anyone else. He's just that good. He really is, and he didn't get to show it a lot in the postseason last year because he was hurt. But man, in the regular season, Dylan Johnson was a killer.
This stupid thing.
How's tight end looking right now? Because we need a little more depth in there.
Ooh. Luke McCaffrey.
Ooh. Is Brendan Rice still there, by the way?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I want to go with Luke McCaffrey. He's more athletic than Christian.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. He's been really productive at Duke, so I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he went right about here in the actual draft.
Okay. We got a running back. We got an O lineman. We got a quarterback. Defensive interior, we're still looking for linebacker.
Yep.
And are we doing
We
best
can look
player
at.
available, or are we doing need
I
based?
mean, if it were up to me, since the Raiders have some specific needs and aren't an absolute shit show, I would go for need here.
Uh, I love Bordeloni.
Yeah, me too. He's
Him
so
or
athletic. He's perfect for the zone scheme that we'd be running. And even though he was at Wisconsin running that straight ahead power nonsense that they run up there, I think he's athletic enough to do basically anything. As you know, we here on the show are not the biggest fans of Andre James, even though I believe he'll be a Raider for the end
right.
until the end of time. Um, I would love to see Bartoloni on the team.
Now, this guy, Mayan Williams, I had Noah Hills from NoahMoreParties.com. He's a running back guru. He really likes him, and that would be incredible value. But we can still wait on Carson Steele. So let's go with Bordeloni.
Okay.
And like I said a couple weeks ago, hopefully he can come in and, beat Andre James in camp. We're looking at the 223 and 229, so we're right at the back end.
Okay.
And let's just find Carson Steele.
You can search for his name there in the search bar.
Ooh, I think he's gone.
Is he?
Nope, he's not.
There he is.
But the other guy
There's our
was.
man. All right, let's try for a flyer and a defensive tackle here.
And, it's not as much a flyer as finding what is available.
Right, diamonds in the rough here.
You got to look at the Alabama guy.
Yeah.
Not great, Bob.
What about the guy from Baylor? I've been hearing. I'm not sure if that's the guy I'm thinking of, but I've heard of him as a late round steal.
Ooh, good Lord. He's a tight end. 6'6", 287.
287. Yeah, that's pretty close to tight end height and weight.
Mississippi State pumps him out. So let's look at this guy. 6'5", 305. A lot of these guys, I mean, again, we're at the very back of the draft. I don't think it's going to matter much.
If you are a defensive tackle and you are 6'6", 300, whatever, you have had a recruitment letter from Mississippi State at one point in your life or another.
Right. Okay, let's get back into defensive interior. And I say we go Alabama.
Sure, why not?
Alabama. I think we pretty much can't go right with any of those picks.
Is that it for us? That is it.
Boom, and that's it.
Okay. How'd we do?
Stay in your seat. We're being graded.
Here.
All right. It said that we should have gone with Blake Corum. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but that's based on need.
Yeah.
So we finished with Talise Fuaga, A+, Bo Nix, A+, Renardo Green and Cooper Beebe, B-, Luke McCaffrey, D-. That's our worst grade. You're welcome. And then Tanner Bordeloni, Carson Steele was a B-, Tim Smith was a B. Overall draft grade, an A, and we are in the top 56 percentile. We're in the 44th percentile of Raiders drafts on PFF.
You're damn right we are.
Let's do a different one. I didn't like that. What was the one that you do?
The NFL Draft Buzz mock draft simulator.
Oh yeah. They are a great prospecting site.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying their site.
And we used them in one a couple weeks ago. All right, let me get over there. Riveting content.
Absolutely.
Present. Share screen. All right. Let's go
Okay.
to steal the line from Tom Brady. Trades on, trade chart, standard Jimmy Johnson, draft buzz rankings, or consensus rankings.
I've been doing consensus, but it's up to you.
I put it on consensus. I don't know what that means. Let's do Jimmy Johnson because that's like the pick values.
Yeah, that's the one everyone uses, basically.
Uh, there we go. And the start draft. Start. See, I like it when the trade window pops up.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what these guys do. There goes Neighbors. There goes Terry Arnold.
That's
There goes
really for
JJ
him.
McCarthy. All right. Jaden went third. So again, it's going to come down to, do we want to go 2 trade offers? Okay, the first one,
Oh, boy.
there's 25 picks. So
Yeah.
next
That's a
one.
no.
It always seems like the Jets are trying to trade with us in these mocks.
Yeah.
And there's another one.
Man.
Reject all.
That's a big no.
Apparently that was a good trade.
Oh. Ooh, Joe
All
Alt
right,
is still
what are we
there?
looking at? That's crazy. I mean, we have
How
to.
is Joe,
We
how
have to
is
take
Joe
Joe
Alt
Alt.
still there? I mean, seriously, Joe Alt might be like the third best player in this draft. You
Yeah,
have to take him
he's
here.
mocked. He's mocked to the Chargers a lot. This one goes a little bit slower.
Okay, we
By a little, I
need
mean
to try to trade back up here, don't we?
trying to find a
You can pause. I think there's a pause draft
trade.
and make a trade.
Pause.
Oh, the Cardinals got okay.
31st with the 49ers.
Okay.
Quarterbacks left. Bo's still there.
Yeah, Bo's still there.
Should we try and trade to the 31st with the
Yeah,
49ers?
let's try to trade here because we know the Chiefs damn well won't do it.
I don't know how to do that.
On the right side and a little bit above there, there's an offer trade thing, and if you have to like click on the picks you want to give them.
Got it. Okay.
So now click on the picks you'd like to offer them, and then pick the team that you want to offer it to.
All right, let's
I've been offering
go.
like a second and a fourth and maybe a fifth next year. If it depends on how far I need to trade up in the scenario I'm in.
Let's see if they'll do it for. I don't know if that added it because it can't. Oh yeah, select team 49ers.
It should say offer trade.
Yeah, it didn't. No, I didn't want to cancel the trade. Stop. Pause. Okay, so now we're trading with the
Okay.
Commanders.
Does anyone else there need a quarterback between us and or between now and when we're picking? Because we might not need to do this.
The Commanders took Williams. The Chargers don't need a quarterback. The Titans, they'll say they don't need a quarterback, but they do. Panthers, same. Texans don't. Falcons don't. Nope.
We might not need to make a trade here then.
Doesn't look like it. Nope.
Why would the Packers take Bo Nix? Oh, that's
Uh,
insanity.
just just to mess with us.
Just to piss us
Um,
off. All
so
right.
we can get Jordan Travis a little bit later. I like that
Yes, we certainly can. I would
idea.
go. I would go there in this scenario. Although that is not happening. Not in a million years is that happening. All right. Well,
Uh,
maybe we can get Fish from Florida State.
Dennis Rakestraw.
I heard he did not have a very good combine. Is that accurate?
I don't know. We can certainly get Tavondre Sweat.
I would. Yeah.
Fisk is there.
Yeah. I would go with Fisk at this point. Sweat has lost all my trust. I do not want to see him set foot in Las Vegas at this point. If this is going to how he's going to be acting.
So let's look for cornerback next. There's Sanderstill. There goes Sanderstill.
Oh shoot! You break my heart again.
I jinxed it.
You did. Well, I mean, if DJ James is there, he's the guy I would take. It says he's from Auburn, but he is an Oregon transfer to Auburn, so I'm very familiar with his game.
Almost there. Almost there.
All right. Thank God.
I am learning that I need to do more of these because I am clunky.
Do you think we should take Travis here in the fourth, or with our next pick? Oh, look, Sam Hartman.
What is our pick? I mean, I would take Austin Reed first.
I would take my aging
Austin
grandmother.
Reed was a good quarterback. He just happened to be at Western Kentucky. Yeah, let's go with Jordan Travis.
Okay, let's do it. If he lasts to us, which is no guarantee with these weird draft things.
No, but I mean, most of the quarterbacks that people are targeting are pretty much off the board and
Yeah.
have been taken. Here we go. We got a trade offer from the Indianapolis Colts.
Josh Seltzner.
So they want to trade us a guard for our fourth rounder. Is that what they're saying? Yeah, we need a quarterback. So I'm gonna. Oh, we have 3 next trade.
Okay.
25 pick and another 25 pick.
Oh,
so they're trying to like sneak those 25 picks in there.
They are.
We are on the clock. Let's go with Jordan Travis.
It doesn't make sense if you're doing just a 1-year mock draft to get trade offers that have the next year's picks in it. Because what are you going to do with those? You don't even know who's going to be in the draft yet. No one's declared. There would be a sophomore that can't declare yet.
So basically, what I would do is I would go in and I would just trade for the 1 and trade for the 2 and trade for the 3 with all of the 25 picks and all of my picks in the draft and just get Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
Absolutely.
Please stay. Nope, there he goes. Okay. Kyrie Jackson was there. But he went. I like Isaac Garendo. He didn't last time. He went right before our pick. Looks like he's going to stay. I'm going to take him.
Absolutely. That'd be the guy I would take here too.
Oh,
what do you got?
We've been offered Colt McCoy.
Oh, God. It's the last person we need.
Next offer. 25 pick and 25 pick. Draft Isaac Garendo. I like this team a lot.
I do too.
Joe Alt, Braden Fisk, DJ James, Jordan Travis, Isaac Orendo. A lot of sneaky upside play with Jordan Travis and Isaac Orendo, just based
For
on
sure.
like athletics alone. Jordan Travis was an undefeated quarterback, like in the ACC.
Yeah.
Too bad they won't be next year with Cal joining the division.
Obviously,
Joe
Cal's going to go
Alt,
12 national title.
the consensus like number one tackle on the board, drops to the 13th pick. Braden Fisk is an athletic marvel. Like DJ James is highly touted. This is a fantastic draft.
Absolutely tremendous.
Break my heart, Raiders. Break it again. Let's go.
We should pick up a whiteout here. This is such a deep whiteout class. It'd be a shame not to get one of them.
Yeah, I was on the player profiler wake and take on Tuesday morning with Jason Allwine. Shout out, Jason. And this is also a good time to say that I'm debuting tomorrow night a new player profiler news show. Every night we have player profiler today, and I have the Friday spot now, starting tomorrow. Weekly, just NFL news, kind of like this, not fantasy related. I'm going to be leading off again with OJ Simpson and then Rashee Rice and etc. But I was talking to Jason, and and he said something that I forgot what I was going to say.
Are you a fan of any of these guys in particular here?
I just remembered. So he said something about our. He asked if a team was going to take a wide receiver in the draft, and I said, if you're a GM in the NFL and you don't draft one of the wide receivers in the draft this year, you should be fired.
There's so many good ones. It's you just kind of have to. From these guys that I'm seeing right here, I would take Marcus Rosemy-Jackson from Georgia. He performed really well in the Senior Bowl, and I just like his body of work in the SEC.
All the guys that I'm eminently familiar with are gone, except I know that Bub Means has like a reputation, but I don't really know any of these guys. So all of the one, and like I'm 25 30 wide receivers deep in this class, and I don't know these guys. That doesn't speak well to me. Let's see, we've been doubling up on defensive line in the past.
Do you think we could go edge rusher at all in this draft?
We could. If you see anybody that speaks to you,
maybe
we
look
could
at linebacker.
We could get really wild and take another quarterback.
That would be absolute insanity.
But we're crazy. Just top linebacker on the board.
Yeah,
Steel Chambers. Yeah. We've drafted him before.
Steel Chambers, the man himself.
I mean, that's a 6th round pick with a 1st round name. So
absolutely,
that's good value right there. I'm not familiar with Kamal Haddon, but
is our boy from UCLA available, or is he gone?
Oh, 3 traded. Oh, do we want Brett Rippon?
Legendary Boise State quarterback Brett Rippon.
That's nope and nope. Running backs. I like Frank Gore.
I do.
That too. Means that Carson Steele's probably there. Heck it, let's do it again.
Excellent.
In the words of Marvin Gaye. I do like Frank Gore Jr. I think when you have a legacy like that, a bloodline like that, it's hard to go wrong. Imani Bailey is the biggest disappointment to me from the combine. I had such high hopes for that guy, and let's go Woo Pig here with a cornerback, Dwight McLeather. Woo Pig Suey.
I just makes me feel so old when I see Frank Gore Jr. on the draft board, because I remember Frank Gore Sr. getting drafted out of Miami by the 49ers in like the 4th round. And
I remember Jerry Rice getting drafted.
well, when I'm like 60 and I see Frank Gore the third on my draft board, I'm going to
Right.
shoot myself in the face.
Yeah, when the grandchildren, that's one thing. Well, no, I can't say that. There have to be grandchildren of guys that I remember. One of the big for baseball fans, Jackson Holiday, son of Matt Holiday, debuted this week. Absolute stud.
Yep.
Okay,
Hasn't got a hit yet, but he's making some good defensive plays.
I watched him in a home run derby against his dad, and he like destroyed him.
He's a special talent. He's gonna be a perennial all star. That kid.
I don't think we need to do this.
Nah, we know who we got. Let's go through it though. This is exciting.
Yes. Is there a large
I don't know.
draft wall? What is that? Dog is trying to dig a hole to China. Wait, go back.
What have you done?
I screwed it up. Let me see if I can. Nope. Damn it. Okay.
Okay. Well, we know who we got. We had fun.
Yeah, and we have it recorded for.
We do.
It's recorded for posterity.
To get Joe Alt, I think, is not going to happen. But if it did, like holy Toledo, because I was doing one earlier today, and I got Olafashanu in the first round at 13, and I traded back up for Michael Penix at like 24, and I thought I hit the lottery because I was like, "There's no way that's going to happen." But honestly, there's so many quarterbacks and so many wide receivers that could go in the top 10, it's possible. You never know. It could happen.
I've been doing mental gymnastics for the last month trying to figure out how we can come out of this draft with Jane Daniels or JJ McCarthy. But if Joe Alt fell to if I knew we could get Joe Alt and then Bo Nix or Jordan Travis or Michael Penix, I would be 100% happy with that.
Yeah, I absolutely think the way to go here is to draft a tackle first and then trade back up for your quarterback.
Yeah.
And the Raiders absolutely have the ammo to do that. They can get whatever they need to.
Well, everybody go ahead and comment on who you think we shouldn't have taken, who you think we should have taken. Right now, we are in a time in the football space where there's a huge dip in the number of people who have eyes on football content. And it's been sad. It's been sad. We haven't had a story like Rashee Rice to kind of like pump up the numbers. So it's just been you and I in here flapping our gums and trying to kill time. But I enjoy it with you. And if anybody's out there, comment in the comments section, like, subscribe, and share. Undroppables help us grow. And other than that, thanks for watching this week, and we'll see you next week at 8. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to the draft. And Raider Damas and I will be on the Undroppables live draft stream. We will hammer that down over the next couple weeks. And other than that, fuck the Broncos. Thanks, guys.
Peace.